You know that feeling, right? That first super intense cool blast you get from a piece of peppermint gum? It's a feeling we all know, but have you ever stopped to wonder what's actually happening to create that chill? Well, today we're diving into the fascinating science behind peppermint, from the molecules that literally trick our brains to its surprising power to boost athletic performance.
So let's just start with that big question. Why does peppermint feel so chilly on your tongue, even when it's room temperature? The secret isn't some kind of magic temperature drop. It's all about some really clever biochemistry.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. To really understand peppermint, we have to look at what's inside of it. Like a lot of powerful plants, its magic comes from a very specific cocktail of natural chemical compounds that know just how to interact with our bodies.
And the key term here is bioactive compounds. These are basically the active ingredients in plants that cause a real biological effect in our bodies. They're the reason a plant's chemicals aren't just, plant parts. They're substances that can actually cause measurable changes.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. This is basically the chemical fingerprint of peppermint essential oil. As you can see, it's a mix of a bunch of different things. You've got menthol, flavonoids, phenolic acids, but there is one molecule that is the undisputed star of the show. It makes up a whopping 40% of the oil, and its name is menthol.
Yeah, you can think of menthol as peppermint's most valuable player. It is by far the most abundant and the most biologically active compound in the plant. So when we talk about that cooling sensation, or its muscle-relaxing effects, or even its stimulating smell, we are almost always talking about the effects of menthol.
So let's get back to that signature cooling effect. The way menthol creates that feeling of cold is just a perfect example of a clever neurological illusion. It's all about sending the right message to the right place at the right time.
And let's be crystal clear about this. Peppermint does not make your mouth colder. It doesn't lower the temperature of your skin by even a fraction of a degree. What it does is way cooler, pun intended. It completely bypasses temperature and sends a fake signal directly to your brain's command center.
So how on earth does it send that false signal? Well, the answer lies with this little guy, the TRPM8 channel. The easiest way to think about it is like a tiny thermostat that's built right into your nerve cells. Its only job is to detect actual cold temperatures. And when it does, it opens up and sends a message to the brain that says, hey, it's cold in here.
And this slide shows us exactly how the trick works. It turns out that menthol's molecular shape is the perfect key for the TRPM8 channel's lock, so it just slips right in and binds directly to this receptor, tricking it into opening just as if you'd taken a sip of ice water. The channel opens, the "it's told" signal fires off, and your brain creates that unmistakable, refreshing chill. Pretty clever, right?
Okay, so now that we know the mechanism, let's look at where this chemistry has a real-world impact. Because that same biological trick has uses that go way beyond just making your breath fresh. We're talking about everything from medicine to the world of athletic performance. One of peppermint oil's most well-known properties is that it's a powerful, smooth muscle relaxant. This is exactly why it's been studied and used so effectively for things like irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, where it helps calm down spasms in the gut. But here's the thing, that muscle-relaxing ability doesn't just stop in your digestive system.
And that leads to a really fascinating question. If peppermint can relax the smooth muscles in our gut, what if it could do the same thing for the smooth muscles in our airways? And if it could, what would that mean for how well we can exercise? Well, a group of researchers decided to find out.
In this study, a group of healthy young men just drank mineral water with a tiny bit of peppermint oil in it for 10 days. And the results were honestly staggering. Just look at these changes. Their time to exhaustion on a treadmill, it shot way up. The total amount of work they could do skyrocketed, and their maximum power output, a huge jump. And here is the single most stunning result. A 25% increase in how long they could run before they hit their absolute limit. That is a massive performance enhancement from something as simple as a few drops of peppermint oil.
So what's going on? Well, the science suggests a few things might be happening at once. The leading theory is that peppermint relaxes the bronchial smooth muscles. Those are the muscles in our airways, making it physically easier to breathe and get oxygen into our system. But on top of that, it might also help reduce lactate buildup and even act as a mild stimulant for the central nervous system, keeping the mind sharp. But this brings us to a really fascinating contradiction, a real paradox. We've just seen that peppermint can act as a relaxant, calming muscles down. But we also just saw proof that it can act as a stimulant, amping up athletic performance. So
How can it possibly be both?
And this is what we call the peppermint paradox. On one hand, its chemistry gives us this relaxing effect. It's used for IBS, and some studies have even shown it can help improve sleep quality. But on the other hand, that exact same chemistry gives us a stimulating effect. It boosts physical power, it increases alertness, and it helps with cognitive tasks.
So, a relaxant and a stimulant all wrapped up in one plant? How is that possible? Well, the answer seems to come down to context. Inhaling the aroma might stimulate your brain and make you feel alert, but swallowing an oil capsule can target and relax the muscles deep in your gut. It's an amazing reminder that even in a simple, common plant, the effect depends entirely on how we use it. Peppermint isn't just one thing. It's a whole chemical toolkit, proving there is some seriously complex science hiding in the most familiar of places.